Welcome to your magical moon message. This is the peace dealer. The moon is in Scorpio. The sun is in Sagittarius. This is pure ascension. We are about one lunar phase away to the new moon. That's blast off. We're blasting off into higher perspectives, ascension, godhood. Now, we do this every year. In that, every year we have a new moon in Sagittarius. This is the first year in 30 years. I paused for dramatic effect. This is the first year in 30 years we're having a new moon with Saturn in Pisces. Oh, but it gets better. This is now the first year in over 150 years. I have to pause longer for even more dramatic effect. That we're having a new moon in Sag with Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. But I promise you it gets better. This is the first time in over 248 years. I'm not going to pause that long. That we're having a new moon in Sagittarius with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces and Pluto exiting Capricorn. Let's go. So, we're taking the whole theme of this 240 to 270 degree range activation of the new moon, aka Sagittarius new moon, and we are now compounding the context of this new cycle of ascension occurring with the god of war Mars in its sign, and Saturn 1 degree bringing about the end of the literal world. Pisces, the end of the zodiac. Saturn, the totality of the material realm. Totality in the final sign, end of the world. 1 degree, beginning of the transit, beginning of the end of the world. Saturn, Aries, Aries, which is the new part of the cycle, and then Saturn of the world is the new world order. So everything that has to change in order to bring in this new era is happening now. And this is you taking the arc God had guided you to build when Saturn entered Pisces in March and then retrograded in the summer. And now the floodwaters are coming down. That being said, before we start, thank you so much for your support. Thank you once again. And as we are going through this mutable revolving door of change, you will see that our connection community also ascends, and I'm really great to see that, it's happening finally. This is a really good statement to say during mutable sign seasons, okay? But outside of that, let's get it. We are blasting off tomorrow, and just like every year where we blast off into a higher perspective, we spend the beginning of the year in March, not January, the beginning of the year with the spring equinox activating and integrating the character that we stepped into this new year with. And so around the winter time and the fall, this allows us to ascend into a higher perspective relative to new ideas and habits that we activated and integrated. Of course, because every year you grow into a much better or worse version of yourself. Ascension in and of itself is not good. You can ascend into a worse version of yourself because you spent the earlier parts of the year integrating horrible habits. Cool. Now that we've got that objective measure out the way, we want to also analyze that this new moon is going to be square Neptune and Saturn. More so, I think a bit of both, but really more so Neptune. So with that being said, now that the moon is in Scorpio and it is trine Saturn, this is the Pisces signature. The moon in Scorpio will be coming out of the Aquarius signature and be making a 330 degree angle to the sun before we have the 0 degree of conjunction. The 12th house signature is transcending and releasing unconscious habits, helping you understand the pure wisdom that you can now make obsolete old habits that got you to this place. This is going to give you a psychoanalytical and psychological understanding of how the philosophies you have harvested in discerning the true meaning of your vision is going to enable you to transform your understanding of that vision and help you see clear a lot of the wisdom and analysis that supports a lot of your philosophy and beliefs and why they are real and true. In this same vein, elements of what you are believing in that are not true will also be revealed in light of evidence so that you can make the appropriate transformation and change. This now brings up bias. This brings up contrarianism, because remember, the moon will be opposite Jupiter and Uranus. So now we are harvesting that lunar cycle with the moon in Taurus, as we will be doing every moon Scorpio. And now this is happening during a balsamic phase. The aspect like this is going to push you to have faith in everything that you have been aligned to see, and to also kind of develop more consistency with, evidence for, because once we step into the new moon in Sag, you're going to see this. Everything that the moon in Gemini helped you truly see, and then the moon in Virgo with analysis and strategy helped you really see, you will now, of course, blast off in that direction, boom up the mountain Capricorn. The reason why we want to highlight bias with an opposition of the moon in Scorpio to Uranus in Taurus, Jupiter in Taurus, you are ascending into a higher version of yourself, which relative to discoveries that are highlighting the outdated nature of today's traditions and the inconclusivity of most, if not all, science, your experience of who you are is continuing to frustrate a lot of the comfort zones that directly debunk and attack other people's beliefs. And now, when people feel like the foundation upon which they live their life and philosophy is threatened, this can cause weak characters who need someone to feel better than, that's what insecurity is, to project on you that it's your problem. You may deal with an extreme element of people taking out their inability to accept what has been revealed to them as real on you. They may take out their frustration on you. They may take out their stupidity on you. This, in context to you standing in integrity to what you know, which you'll know, because if anyone has any disagreement with what you believe, you have done the work, you have done the research, you have a receipt for that. I'm not arguing with anybody who doesn't agree with astrology or knows the language. I'm not arguing with people who will tell me that, oh, psychic ability isn't real. I have receipts for that. They're not angry with me. They may just take out on me their denial because they're weak, stupid little bitches. And a transit like this builds psychological strength in order with the moon in Scorpio, psychological understanding, unveiling of wisdom, in order to, in harvesting these extra dimensional awakenings of physical energy, and now the evolution and expansion of the quality of how much you can harness this physical energy. That's what is, of course, going to harvest the wisdom and understanding of how to transform this perspective, which in line of that new moon in Sag, the whole notion of a 12th house transit wants you to have faith, because this is the darkness of the actual seeds you planted in the new moon. Well, by the full moon, you've harvested it, and we've completed the harvest with the 270-degree third quarter square. So basically, the balsamic phase is where we clear the field. We have to clear the field, because guess what we're going to do in a new moon? Plant new seeds. When we clear the field, you have to take everything that you have been revealed and taught and now integrate everything before we apply that to this new cycle. All right. And so do expect to be tested. The moon is trining Saturn, which is going to apply this psychological wisdom towards the integrity of your beliefs, strengthening how you will move forward to continue to perceive this. This psychoanalytical understanding will have people snitch on themselves based on what they do and don't do, say and don't say. So you can save yourself a lot of time by recognizing somebody who is just projecting versus someone who is coming from an authentic place, especially with the North Node Aries King Kunks. But what we really want to highlight is the subsequent trine of the moon Scorpio to Neptune Pisces, that in the darkness of the balsamic phase will reveal uncanny and supernatural metaphysical experiences that tie you relative to unseen principles outside of your ability to perceive, which you can only perceive less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum, and then also help you see how it relates with what's real. So that by the time the new moon goes into Sagittarius, everything that was revealed through the moon in Scorpio that you couldn't understand, in the light of Sag awareness, you will see. Boom, you are now ascending this perspective, stage 3 breakthrough. And so this is where, at the climax of the I Told You So tour part 3, new moon in Sag, we get to see the Sagittarius headliner, and we are now allowing our own actions and demonstrations to speak for ourselves. That is the Sagittarius 60-degree sextile and open door of Libra season with the eclipse, where we presented these receipts and we're like, you're bugging. You're saying that this isn't true, but I'm showing you it's true. And now this is where any kind of, disagreement or whatnot people have in denial and not being able to accept that has nothing to do with you. So don't make it your problem. Okay, that's all I'm saying. All you have to do is maintain integrity of your beliefs. That's what Saturn and Pisces is testing you on. And now the retrograde is over. Neptune is direct. So this is going to strengthen the quality of your intuition. With the Scorpio moon, that will be a vessel of having you integrate this analysis psychologically. Virgo is more physical analysis. And through character development of Libra, Scorpio is psychoanalysis. Even though they're both pretty much a bit of the same thing, they're both analysis. This is going to be very important because controversial elements of Uranus and Taurus opposing the moon in Scorpio will reveal how on the surface people can make persuasive definitions to overgeneralize facets of what it is you believe and see that take away from the main point. But now with this opposition, it's exposed for being nothing more than misleading. It's exposing the majority of people who listen to these misinformation and disinformative practices or theories or ideas, and it is exalting everything that you have really done to maintain the integrity of your beliefs, because truth does not need defense. Meaning does not need defense. God does not need you to prove that God exists. It's pride, ego, and bias that makes us feel like, well, we have to make sure we sound like we know. No, you don't. No, you don't. All you need to do is maintain integrity of your beliefs. That way your actions do the talking in ways you may not even be aware. So just keep that in mind, because for those of you who have maintained just that, this balsamic phase is going to bring such a rapid, more exponential transformation of this ascension process and prepare you for blast off. Let's get it. So this is literally, the moon in Libra was literally you boarding the ship with your fellow astronauts, 11th house of associates and friends. The 12th house is all of you getting ready to finally blast off before we count down. So just keep that in mind. Take all the concepts you've been revealed. We're still just barely getting started. And remember, most people know how to sound smart. Most people know how to use rhetoric to beef up inconclusive and fake ethos. And, at the end of the day, as above, so below. They should be able to base whatever they say in reality. Most people cannot do that. And even more people will just blindly follow others who don't do that. So just don't get caught up in the bullshit. Don't get caught up in people just kind of asserting things that have no business or authority even talking about. And hold yourself to the same accountability too. And you're going to be Gucci. This is what, trust me, we're about to step into a whole new paradigm and cycle with this. This hasn't happened in over 248 years. So this new moon will show you that it's the end of this old world. And if you're ready for this revolution, comment down below what you're grateful for. And if you're ready to blast off. This is your host, the Peace Dealer. Thank you guys eternally for the support you've continued to show me. We are the revolution, and it may not all be televised. It's not at all what we thought it would look like, which is cool because it is what it is. Peace.